Praise God, the storm is passing over. Reverend Johnson, thank you so much for that amazing intro, Pastor. Thank you. It is a blessing to be in front of you today. I want to go back to the song that was playing when we were talking about the offering, when Archbishop did the song right now, that God is blessing somebody right now. As the storm is passing over, notice that even in the midst of the storm, God is still blessing you right in this moment. It may not look like what you want it to look like, but if you can take a moment and look back over your life, God blessed you through that process because you made it through. So I want us to hear some things and not just allow things to set in us as if it's some kind of cliche or it's a cute kind of word that needs. You got to know these things to be true. So just stay in there. If you're in a moment, stay in the moment. Know that the storm will pass because God is in the moment. You welcome. I'm glad to have you here today. I'm excited to talk about the theme today is learning in the power of Blackness, celebrating Black excellence and brilliance. I want us to understand that we've been talking about Black and Black and Black all this month. Let's take it beyond this month as well. Even though we're closing out, let's take it beyond. I want you to know that Black Studies has the power to liberate and to elevate all of those who engage in its richness. Black study elevates a person's knowing from things just being possible to making things a reality. You saw the video just a few minutes ago. It wasn't simply because those individuals decided, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try to make that happen. They made it happen because they knew how important it was to breach those things that people said that should confine us. They breach those confinements so that they can pave a way, knowing we would need that as we move forward. Learning in the power of Blackness propels a person to evolve beyond their believed limitations. Hear that. Believed limitations. Because when God created us in all freeness. We were created in a movement, a ebb of to and fro. Stagnation is not a part of our design, so there's nothing holding you back. While Blacks, listen to this, were isolated from their native culture, from the believed majority societies and denied access to the normalcies of life, Blacks still managed to create the most influential and original culture mankind has ever seen. Now, ask yourselves, why was there such a concerted effort to silence our voices, our truths, our contributions in schools, in the community, and in societies, if there was nothing worth contributing? The efforts to silence Black voices was so overwhelming, it was almost as if there was something that they didn't want us to know. They knew, but it seemed like they didn't want us to know. Well, the truth is that they knew that what we had to offer was something better and powerful than what had been sold to us. Get that. Get that. Let that marinate. You see, by a cloaked colonial design, because that's what they were selling to us. They wanted us to believe that Black studies is something to be ashamed of. They wanted us to believe that our Black lives are less than meaningful and that our history merits no significant value. Don't believe me. Let me give you an example. There are businesses that have embedded themselves in our Black neighborhoods. And these businesses, they provide services to the Black community. They take millions from the Black community by providing these services. But have you ever noticed that these businesses that embed themselves in the Black community, because they quickly run to the Black community and do this, right? They never purchase gas in our communities. They never shop in our communities. They never buy food in our communities. They don't contribute anything to our communities. And for some, they rarely, if at all, hire from the Black communities, but they will run and set up their businesses in the Black communities. Have you ever wondered why? Or are we so busy patronizing these businesses? Do we not realize that when we do that, we invest in their homes, their cars, their vacations, their educations, and yet we devalue or minimize our own education, our own opportunities. And then we say, well, they. And half of the time, the businesses that's patronizing is allowing us to run in there so that we can alter our natural beauties, nails and hair and feet and this and that and the other and weaves and all of this other stuff. I'm not saying that there's something terribly wrong with that. But when that becomes more important than you valuing yourself, now you got to put it on the scale and weigh it and see which part of the scale tilts in your favor. If you don't, you may be losing out on some valuable pieces of you. You may be giving away some valuable pieces of you. And a part of that is because you might not have delved into your own and invested into your own mental educations. Many of us have accepted that our lives, our history, our education is not worth peering into because we live in a world that has progressed toward the acceptance of hate-based indoctrinated, which is being pressed to become a normalized belief in the world that we live in. We live in a world where we are experiencing the most widespread bigotry and racialized terrorism in history. We have forgotten that we are preceded by thousands of years of dominance, genius, and brilliance. If you move away from the distractions and look, you will see that our dominance, our genius, and our brilliance has influenced every civilization on the planet. Hear that. And not just hear that, know that. Due to progressive thinking, and our progressive nature, many still feel misunderstood. So they don't want to be ostracized by those who embed themselves in conservative thinking. And so because of feeling misunderstood, many never try to implement their progressive thinking into an established society. This society is not established unless you are a part of it. How do you establish a society? How do you create a progressive environment if you haven't embedded yourself into what is rightfully yours? Many have become accepting of their colonized place instead of taking their seat of their inherited rightful place. Hear me, inherited. No one has been created better than you. No one has a better education than you. What's available to you is available to all. What's available to all is available to you. Those individuals that you just saw online, it wasn't easy. It wasn't cute. It cost them relationships. It cost them sometimes family shifts. It cost them things, but they knew it was worth it because they chose not to settle for. It's not going to be easy. Any fight that I've ever gotten into, it wasn't easy. And I didn't win all, but I got into the fight. Remember that there are reminders of who we are. These reminders are ever present. New generations have been sent to elevate the consciousness of the planet and to bring about necessary positive change. Delving into Black studies gives indulgers kind of like some superpowers that advances them beyond their years. They know that true liberation starts in the mind. If it ain't up here, it ain't happening nowhere else. I was going to try to make that part cute, but I'm just going to tell it like it is. It has to start in the mind. Our current model of education, yep, it needs a drastic overhaul. We need a model in our education systems that not only changes minds, but it also propels hearts. It prepares them to understand things through the heart, because you can't just be all up in your head. Once you get it in your head, you got to go do something with it. But engaging in Black studies is not a unilateral effort. Those who have accepted their place to engage in these studies need intelligent agents. who are cosmically appointed to them to aid them in cultivating their divine purposes. Don't think that where you are, you got there by yourself. There were intelligent agents cosmically sent to you so that you can be where you are. Now, please don't get to the point that because of where you are, that the buck stops there. There is a give back program that you need to be involved in. I really hope you heard what I just said. Learning in the power of Blackness is not a unilateral effort. Those that are committing to learning cannot be successful alone, and those who are assigned as cosmic intelligent agents to assist cannot be successful independently. It is a tandem effort. Those who are cosmically assigned to assist as guides and managers, that's exactly what you are. You are guides and managers. You are not owners. If you are assigned to assist, your assignees owe you nothing when the assignment is over. They are not indebted to you. They are to be released to apply what you and others have taught them so that they can lead someday, and they themselves in the future can become intelligent agents to others. The goal is for both to develop a greater understanding of their powers and roles to become effective in their progressive endeavors. We must bring together awareness and freedom to the world. We must bring together awareness and freedom to the world. We must bring, no, the video's not broken. I'm just repeating myself because I really want y'all to hear this. We must bring together a greater awareness and freedom to the world so that the light of Black excellence, Black power and brilliance continues to illuminate globally and beyond. Writers like Walter Dean Myers, Virginia Hamilton, and poets like James Baldwin and Tanya Sanchez, these were people who wrote and educated without concerns of what they had to say, what they thought about. They wrote from their heart and consciousness, committing to utilize their superpowers to liberate leaders for generations to come. Family, it is our responsibility to create platforms to elevate the consciousness of Black studies, Black educations, Black awareness, and Black brilliance in this world. I have found that you can predict the future. Yeah, you can. And the way to predict the future is that you create it. You don't get a canvas and say, oh, someday there's going to be a portrait on here, and you have all the tools and you choose not to paint. Guess what's going to happen? Somebody else going to come along, move you out the way and paint, and you're on your canvas. And then you're going to be like, that's not what I envisioned. They're like, well, you did show what you envisioned. You didn't paint nothing, so that's what you envisioned, apparently. You have what you need to create the future. You can predict the future. You have to get involved with the future. With the tools you have, paint your own canvas. If each of us activate our superpowers, meaning committing to and delving into Black studies and committing to becoming cosmic intelligent agents for young people and for others, speaking up about our rich history instead of being ashamed of it. Sometimes young folks want to hear what you got to say because you can't build a building with no foundation. You got to have it built on something. We can change the future in Black communities. We can change and build confidence. If we stop focusing on what we can't do and start focusing on what we can do, things will change. If someone has decided to activate their confidence through Black studies and Black education and move forward in progressive thinking, and you have your conservative thinking that are still there, get out the way. Because it's like standing in front of a truck running at about 80 miles an hour and you throw your hands up and say, oh, stop. I don't believe you're going to be effective. Progressive change must happen, and it's going to move with or without you. Wouldn't you rather do it with you than without you so you don't get left behind or ran over? Don't ostracize those who think different than you. Take your knowledge, combine it with their knowledge, put it together, and make it happen. Listen, I hear people say all the time, I got nothing, I'm broke, I'm this. I always drop a little fun fact in when I speak. We have about 2.5 million heartbeats in our lifetime. We can't be broke. That those beats would make us millionaires. Imagine if we utilize each heartbeat with embedding ourselves in Black education, Black power, Black brilliance, investing in ourselves, and we combine those efforts with others who recognize the fact that they have the power with the beat of their heart. Imagine what that synergy of power would do in this world. Think about that. What would you do with that type of power if you recognized it and applied it? Listen, the writer and historian Lerone Bennett once said, an educator in a system of oppression is either an oppressor or a revolutionary. My question is, which are you? I want to thank you for giving me this moment to talk with you. Again, our theme for this topic was learning in the power of Blackness, celebrating Black excellence and brilliance. Bring your energies together to create a synergy of illumination that can be seen beyond the nebula. That continue and again, are you an oppressor or are you a revolutionary? God bless.